Thank you. Welcome to the special called Finance Committee. I'm calling the committee to order. Let the minutes show that we have one committee member absent, which is Alderman Bergdorf. And tonight we have a host of aldermen in the audience with us. Can I get an acceptance of the agenda? Do you have anything you would like to?
So moved.
Okay, and I second that, so we've accepted the agenda. I do not have minutes from the last meeting. So moving on to ordinances and resolutions. We have two. The first ordinance is the reading of our 2023-11, an ordinance of the City of Hendersonville, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024. I'm going to pass the floor to Mr. Eckenroth to lead us in this discussion.
Thank you, Chairman Dixon. The mayor had wanted to present the budget as it was previously presented, but BOMA had given staff a direction to come up with a couple options of how we could budget, or how we could balance the budget without a trash fee included. So three options we came up with. One was if we pull the trash fee out, how do we make the use of reserves diminish? Option number two, if we pull the trash fee out, how do we not dip into reserves at all, or fund balance? And option three, is there some sort of combination we could do where we use some fund balance, but not as much as we would in option one? So what we've put together are three different options.
Do we have these to show on the screen?
I do not.
Okay, that's fine.
Option one increases the general fund revenue by reverting, taking the tax rate back to 0.9187, adding $75,000 for business tax, $250,000 for investment earnings, adding $25,000 for parks and recs fees, and $120,000 for court costs, for a total revenue adjustment of $4 million. On the expenditure side of the house, under option one, we would add back in trash expenses at $4.7 million, and then four reductions to follow that. One of our park staff who all he does is special events, that could go to the hotel motel fund to pull $80,000 out of the general fund. We could move one additional police vehicle to the drug fund for savings of $58,000. We can move $100,000 of paving from the Public Works budget to State Street Aid. And we can reduce the Exit 8 project, the new funds request, by $1.1 million, which would bring total expenditure adjustment to $3.3 million. So in the original budget that the mayor proposed, there was use of fund balance of $1.6 million. This would reduce that $709,000. So the revised use of reserves or fund balance would be $923,280.
And how would this look for our yearly audit? Would we still be meeting that threshold?
Yes, it would.
Okay, great.
Then the second option that we were charged with was, what would we have to do in the budget to not use any fund balance? There's no reserves use at all. So we would have to do every option under option one. In addition, we identified 6 categories to reduce expenditures, so we wouldn't have to use any fund balance or reserves. And that would be, the 6 categories is delete community contributions of $272,500, delete efficiency incentives of $15,000, MTA relax and ride contract of $55,000, a reduction of $150,000 in professional services for planning, shift more paving to State Street Aid of $180,000, which means the timing of our paving we'd have to time it just right, and then remove the equipment replacement set aside $251,000. So that would reduce, we'd have a total reduction, or I'm sorry, the shift more paving to State Street A would be $251,000, and then remove the equipment replacement set aside is $180,000. So that total is $923,500, which would allow our budget to actually have a surplus of $220 without using any fund balance.
Okay.
So a kind of a drastic measure, but
Yes.
that was one of the options we were charged with.
Right.
Then the third option was a combination, and that combination would be to incorporate all of option 1 amendments for $709,000, and then to delete efficiency incentives of $15,000, professional services out of planning of $150,000, and then to shift more paving to State Street aid. So those options together would be $345,000, and that would use $578,280 of fund balance. So option number 1 uses less fund balance than the original proposed budget. Option number 2 uses none at all, and option number 3 is kind of meeting in the middle.
Right.
Jess, can I ask you, or did you have some?
No, go right ahead.
Where are those additional revenues coming from?
Yeah, good question. So with business tax, we originally budgeted rather conservatively. We figure that this year is going to end about $100,000 higher than where we estimated. So if we think we went right to the edge of where we're going to get business tax, it'd be $100,000. We put $75,000 additional in here. Investment earnings of an additional $250,000. Due to the situation we're in right now with financing, we were given an offer this year that we previously hadn't had, so our investment earnings can go up even more. Parks and Rec fees continue to just come in a little bit higher than anticipated, so that's $25,000. And then BOMA recently adopted some court cost increases, so $120,000 is a reflection of those new court costs.
Okay. And as I understand it, that investment earnings is somewhat conservative, isn't it? Pretty conservative, actually.
We hope it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So we would want to incorporate these revenue updates anyway, really.
I think regardless,
Yes, yes. Okay. And I actually like the expenditure update, the general fund updates. I think we would want to do that as well. So I'm leaning toward option 1 as a proposal to BOMA. Do you have any other questions, Jeff? Alderman Sassy?
The moving the park staff costs to the hotel motel, as I remember, that was pretty much depleted, right, with the expense from the hockey rink fund and the parks events. That brought it down to almost zero. So how does that work? Oh,
Yeah.
because the additional fees we're getting, or go ahead.
Yeah, we would have some additional fund balance to use. This couldn't go on year over year unless there was an increase to hotel motels. So one of the things that BOMA has talked about is the possible uptick to hotel motel from 2.75 to 4. So if that happens, that would allow this to happen year over year.
Right.
This would be really just a one-time, maybe we would do it 2 years, but this would be just a 1 or 2 time incident if we didn't increase the hotel motel tax.
Which is our next ordinance to discuss on our agenda.
Right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Is there any alderman in the audience that would like to speak now that we have
everyone-
answered our questions?
Did everyone get a copy of this?
Or you can wait till the
Mr.
workshop.
Waters didn't get
Mr. Waters, do you?
He
Oh,
didn't,
okay.
he did not get this.
We can wait till our 6:45 workshop then. I'm ready to vote. Would you like to make a motion or?
Just a moment.
Madam Chairman? Karen,
Yes.
when you have a second, I'd like to weigh in.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead if y'all ready.
Go right
No,
ahead.
I'm still looking, so
Go right
by all
ahead,
means.
Mayor.
Okay, so option one, I guess, is what y'all are looking at. So should surprise nobody that the option I like is option zero, the mayor's proposal that I provided a couple weeks ago. The problem I have with option one, and Jesse did his job and chairman and the staff did their job. They did what the board asked them to. The biggest problem I have with option one is it removes $1.1 million from Exit 8 funding.
But we still have considerable money in that fund, correct?
Well, we don't have any money in the fund, we have to reappropriate it every year. And so it doesn't stay there. If we don't spend it, we have to come back and spend, we have to reappropriate it in the budget the next year.
So we have around $200,000 in that fund. What is the likelihood that we will purchase land?
Oh, I think
Which is for land purchase, right, this year?
yeah, I think it's pretty strong. Yeah.
Sorry, where are you getting 200,000?
Because it was 2 million in the project.
Well, that was 2
for-
million in addition to what we already had in there, which was 2.8
That's what I'm
million.
asking. Didn't we already have some funds in there?
Yeah, it was like 2.8 million.
Yes, we did.
Total proposed budget for fiscal year '24 on exit 8 is 4.9 million.
Okay.
So this would reduce it to 3.8, right? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Anything else, Mayor Clary?
Nope, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
Alderman.
Same issue on exit 8. By cutting the budget on exit 8, I'm afraid that will be used by the county commissioners that are opposed to contributing, that the mayor's been working on. I'm afraid that they'll use that as a justification to strip away any support. So I just from a lobbying standpoint, I guess, I'm afraid that sends the wrong message.
Right.
So in the workshop, I'm going to explore that a little further. I'm concerned that we're going to lose, how much, Mayor, did the committee recommend?
$3 million over 4 years.
Yeah,
Over four,
I'm
okay.
afraid we're going to lose that. You know, because they're going to say, well, the city's not sold on this. They just slashed the budget for exit 8.
Right.
1.5 million.
Right.
So that just consideration.
Totally understand. I'm concerned as well, but it's not like we're allocating nothing. We have some allocated in there. And we have 3 options in front of us, and so we can choose to move the current budget as it is forward to BOMA in 2 weeks, or we can pick one of these options, and either way, it's just a recommendation to BOMA from this committee.
So another question
Sure.
for you, Jesse. So on option 3, I'm really digging into that one. I like not using our reserves, right? But I know that that is going to. I feel like it's going to be necessary to do so, at least for this year. So in option 3, you had mentioned in option 2 that the last 2 were switched, right? Or the funds were actually incorrect on there.
Yeah, that's a typo on my part.
Oh,
So
where?
does the shift more paving to State Street and remove the equipment replacement set aside?
Okay.
So does that mean the last one on there is also going to be remove the equipment replacement, or is that going to be shift to street aid needs to be changed the amount?
Shift more paving to State Street 8 should be 251,000.
Great, thank you.
And then the remove the equipment replacement set aside is 180,000.
Right.
I did not catch that.
But each one of these options still includes option 1. Option 1
Yes.
is everything on this list rolls to option 2 and rolls to option 3.
I'm leaning towards recommending option 3 myself.
I am as well.
Right, okay.
So I'm ready for a vote so
Okay.
that we can
Yeah, let's do
move
it.
forward. So if you'll give me a motion,
Yeah, motion made
and I second it. So,
to recommend option 3, I should say.
all those in favor of recommending option 3, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that passes unanimously. And so we will move on to reading the ordinance 2023-13, an ordinance repealing and replacing the hotel privilege tax in the city of Hendersonville, Tennessee.
So
Thank
moved.
you. Second. And to let everyone know that's watching and in the audience today, this is the first time we're seeing it. We did not get this ahead of time. So are you ready to speak on that, Jesse, or do we want Alderman Roberson to speak on it?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This ordinance would, as you stated, increase the hotel motel tax, the privilege tax on hotel occupancy in the city from 2.75 to 4%. It's the staff's estimate that this would generate $150,000 additional dollars to be used for tourism. Where I think that this could help our budget, I think Mr. Eckenroth has already said possibly $58,000 of this tax if it's approved. But there are presently some current projects, for example, the bathrooms at the rugby field, I think that additional money could be used to save the budget, to save some of the budget that we've got allocated. I think we've got $600,000 or $700,000 for that. We don't think that's going to be enough, do we, Mr. Eckenroth? So we're going to see an overage there. So this is a possible use of that. And I personally think that it fits the statutory requirement that it has to be used for tourism. So to me, this money is pretty much earmarked toward our parks and recreation. And I think all of us that have been to the parks, we're proud of our parks, but we need to do a lot better. We can do a lot better. And this is the first small step in starting to address, I think, some of the park issues that can help us bring in more tourism.
Right.
So I'm available for any questions.
So what is our next step if we were to adopt this tonight, move it on to BOMA? What is the process, taking the tax to the state?
Well, it would require 2 readings. And after the second reading, I need some help on what's the administrative process
Right.
for
It's law.
implementing it.
So it's law at that point, and we would just notify the hotels that the local tax rate has gone up.
Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. So it should start generating additional revenues shortly thereafter.
Probably be August, maybe September.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah. So if we made this change, or let me ask first, what are the cities around us? What is their hotel motel tax rate? Well, I think Nashville is way even above this to help pay for the stadium, but I don't know. I haven't done an analysis on a comparative analysis. Does the staff know?
Well, when we did it when we enacted this 2 years ago, actually more than that, almost 3 years ago, we had analysis of what was going on around us. We're on the low side right now. Part of that is because the counties and the cities sort of share what the most they can do, and sometimes the county takes a bigger portion, sometimes the city takes a bigger portion. I don't really know where they are right now, though, but we were at the low end when we first enacted it.
Okay.
So, and so Nashville, in addition to, I want to say it's like 14%.
Yeah, it's astronomical.
In addition to that, it's like a $2 flat fee as well.
So I don't think it would be a competitive disadvantage
But
to our hotels.
this is as high as we can go legally right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions.
I have no other questions. You have no, does any alderman from the floor have a question? Okay, we're going to take a vote. Can you move to
Yeah,
vote
so
on this?
moved.
Second, so let's vote on the reading of, on the ordinance 2023-13. All those in favor? say
Aye.
Aye, so that passed unanimously. Moving on to other agenda items, it's just a discussion on trash tax. And Mr. Eckenroth, are you leading us in that discussion, or do we need Mr. Ray up?
Yeah, let's hear from Mr. Ray. Thank you, Mr. Ray.
So, the short end of it, I would say that I don't believe that the city would have authority to impose a universal trash tax. Anytime that a municipality or a local government wants to impose a fee, a special assessment, a tax, generally they need specific authority under state law to do so. I've not been able to find any such authority. I've not been able to find any other local government to impose such a tax. I also consulted with MTAS, and it is also their opinion that we would not have that authority and that they cannot find such authority to do so.
Okay, all right. Any questions?
Nope.
Any questions from the audience? Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Sure.
Thanks.
Can I get a move to adjourn?
Motion made.
We second it, and we are adjourned. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Quick and easy.
That was quick.